Hello everyone, I am Jazila El Jamaai, a PhD candidate from University 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐬 El Jadida, Morocco. I am preparing my thesis in biological invasion, and I am honored to be presenting here today our first research findings regarding biological invasions in Morocco, which species and at what cost. As we all know, globalization has significantly increased the number, reach, and impact of biological invasions, negatively affecting ecological and socioeconomic systems globally. But despite the substantial threat, many countries still struggle to prevent and effectively mitigate biological invasions. Especially developing economies, such as those in Africa, with fewer resources dedicated to addressing ecological crises, are likely to experience more severe impacts from biological invasions. Invasive species are estimated to cost over $423 billion annually worldwide, with these costs increasing fourfold every decade since the 1970s. Given that prevention is more effective than post-invasion mitigation and restoration, strategies should prioritize early intervention in the invasion process. However, to fully realize the benefits of effective management, greater efforts are needed to improve data availability, especially in emerging countries that are integrated into global trade. Morocco, situated in the northwest corner of Africa, is just 15 kilometers from Europe across the Strait of Gibraltar. It boasts a rich history as an international commercial hub and is one of Europe's largest trading partners in Africa. The diversity of its ecosystems, alongside high arrival rates of incoming alien species via trans-Mediterranean and transatlantic routes of trade, as well as transport and tourism, makes the country increasingly susceptible to the introduction of many alien species. However, there are currently no studies estimating the distribution and economic impacts of these species in Morocco, nor identifying the regions and sectors most adversely affected.
The 𝐻𝐸𝐶𝐸 database offers the most current, comprehensive, and standardized compilation of global economic costs associated with biological invasions. However, cost data specific to Morocco within the 𝐻𝐸𝐶𝐸 database remain limited. This lack of data highlights the need for compiling comprehensive lists of invasive species and mapping their distribution across Morocco to better understand their potential economic impacts. In this study, we provide a projected cost assessment based on a global analysis of invasive species currently established in the country. Data collection, compilation, and filtering. First, we conducted a global survey using scientific and gray literature, such as Global Invasive Species Database, Global Register of Invasive and Introduced Species, and the Standardizing and Integrating Alien Species Workflow, as well as consultations with national experts and stakeholders. Second, utilizing the 𝐻𝐸𝐶𝐸 database, we compared invasive alien species detected in Morocco. Occurrence records detailing their current invasive distribution in the country were retrieved from the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, with those documented in 𝐻𝐸𝐶𝐸 regarding economic costs. This analysis identified two categories: species found in Morocco without cost information in 𝐻𝐸𝐶, and species with documented costs in 𝐻𝐸𝐶 but reported outside of Morocco. Estimating costs of invasive alien species in Morocco, we obtained cost data for the 12 most common invasive species with available cost information from other countries by calculating the annual cost for each species and extrapolating based on their prevalence number of occurrences in Morocco. Now let's talk about our results. After reviewing biodiversity databases, published papers, and other materials, we identified a total of 551 invasive species established in Morocco. Of these, 141 species were documented in the 𝐻𝐸𝐶𝐸 database, while 410 lacked cost entries. Additionally, only 188 of the total 551 species had location data in the GBAF database. Observed invasive alien species in Morocco. Among the 141 invasive species with recorded costs, 107 had documented occurrences, primarily vertebrates, 76.0%, 25 species, plants, 23.5%, 68 species, and arthropods, 0.4%, 11 species. In contrast, of the 410 invasive species with no recorded costs in IyrCIS, 81 had documented occurrences in Morocco, mainly vertebrates, 90.1%, 10 species, plants, 9.3%, 56 species, red algae, 0.3%, 2 species, and arthropods, 0.2%, 10 species.
Cost breakdowns by taxonomy, typology, and impacted sector. Taxonomic distribution of the costs.
The 12 most widespread invasive species accounted for 480 entries in IyrCIS, with a cumulative global economic cost of $4.26 billion. The estimated annual cost of these species in Morocco was $1.61 billion. The pigeon and silverleaf nightshade alone accounted for over $1.5 billion of this total, while the remaining species incurred $49.91 million. The lower costs associated with these other species are primarily due to management expenses rather than direct damages. Geographic distribution of costs. The uneven geographic distribution of potential economic costs from invasive species in Morocco is due to several factors. Densely populated regions like Casablanca, Rabat, and Marrakesh have higher economic activity and assets at risk, leading to greater potential costs from invasive species damage. Coastal regions, which host industries such as fisheries, tourism, and agriculture, are also significantly impacted. For example, the Marrakesh Safi region faces an estimated potential cost of $361 million. Additionally, urban and economically vibrant areas tend to have more comprehensive monitoring and reporting systems, resulting in better documentation of invasive species compared to less populated regions.
Given that inaction on invasive species management can lead to substantial avoidable costs, Morocco must establish proactive measures to prevent new invasive species introductions. Future studies should focus on identifying and cataloging potential invasive species and early detection pathways. This will enable policymakers and environmental managers to develop targeted strategies for interception and control, effectively reducing future economic costs. On synthesis, the estimated annual economic impact of invasive species in Morocco is $1.61 billion, but this likely underestimates the true burden. This estimate is based on data for only 2% of Morocco's invasive species and lacks specific cost information for the country. The focus on certain species, like pigeons, highlights the need for a broader approach to invasive species management. Improving cost reporting, early detection, and management strategies is essential. Enhanced collaboration among researchers, policymakers, and stakeholders is crucial to develop effective laws and interventions, protecting ecosystems and mitigating economic risks. Lastly, I would like to thank my co-authors, especially my thesis director, Dr. Ahmed Taheri and Dr. Elena Angulo, and also all of you for your attention.